I got a little bit of an idea to make a new series wherein I talked about powerful hockey lines. I don't know what the title of this is going to be, maybe something along the lines of best lines in hockey, something like that. And I don't have plans to just keep this within the NHL. I have ideas to talk about powerful lines throughout just the sport of hockey, but starting things off in this first little discussion here, I wanted to talk about a line that was dear to my heart, something that was really just the embodiment of a young Lego Rocks 99 watching the Vancouver Canucks, and this right here is the Sedin-Sedin-Burrows line, one of the most impressive lines hockey has ever seen. Of course, I'm expecting this to get quite a bit of attention because this is the Sedin's best line in my opinion. This was arguably the best line the Vancouver Canucks ever had, and surprisingly, it did last for quite a long time. Now, I won't go out there and say that a lot of lines last forever. There are a lot of really good lines that we see throughout the history of hockey, throughout the CHL, NCAA, WHL, OHL, QMJHL, NHL, that we see are indeed dominant, but are just as ephemeral as they are powerful. We didn't really see that here, because the Sedin-Sedin-Burrows line was a line that started in 2008-2009. The way it started was, the Vancouver Canucks, they weren't really that good. They found themselves in quite a hole. They had lost 4 straight in regulation, then lost another 3 in overtime or shootouts, and another one in regulation as well. They were in a 4-game losing streak status, and this was just over the halfway point of the season. And so, a lot of Vancouver Canucks fans at this time in 2009, the new year in January, we were getting really insecure about the team and just what was going to happen to the Vancouver Canucks. So, Alain Vigneault, he made a change. He promoted Alex Burrows, who had been playing with Ryan Kesler, up to the first line, alongside of Henrik and Daniel Sedin. Ryan Kesler on the second line ended up playing with Pavel Demitra and Matt Sundin. This was the start of the Sedin-Sedin-Burrows line. And in the game that some believe was the game that decided Vigneault's future with the Vancouver Canucks, Alex Burrows, with minutes to go in the third period of a tie game on the penalty kill, found himself on a shorthanded breakaway. He deked out Cam Ward, beat him out, scores, it's 4-3 Vancouver. This was the foundation for success, because the Vancouver Canucks won their first game in 9 games. They went on to go 25-1 in the next 2 months with an 11-0-0 record at home. And this was the start of the Sedin-Sedin-Burrows line. It was very interesting when this happened, and a lot of people were kind of confused at first as to why it was doing so well, but eventually, as the Canucks were able to beat Chicago 7-3, St. Louis 6-4, Phoenix 4-3 in the next few games, these were high-scoring games, and a lot of Vancouver Canucks fans were realizing that, wow, it does work. The Sedins and their fluid, precise, and intelligent game style, it blends so well with Alex Burrows' rough and tough, deep in the crease, hard to shove off the puck playing style. And that's basically the antithesis of this situation right here, and it's why it works so well. The Sedins had Burrows as the guy who would dig the puck up from corners. He was a hard forechecker of a player that you couldn't shove off. He was annoying to play against. He was one of those players. He would always find himself in the crease, and it would be impossible to shove him out of it, because he was so eager and so determined. His heart and his grit was left all out there on the ice every single shift, and because of this presence, it allowed the Sedins to flourish under the best of conditions. Don't get me wrong, Naslund, Linden, Anson Carter, Pavel Demitra at the time, they were great line mates too, but Burrows provided an opening for a brand new exposition to Sedin's hockey. Alex Burrows finished up that season with 28 goals, 51 total points, and both of the Sedins finished up with 82. So they were both point-per-game players. Then going into the 2009-2010 NHL season, everybody was kind of excited, because they wanted to see a full year of Burrows with the Sedins, and this is what we got. Henrik Sedin with the Art Ross 112 points, 83 assists. Alex Burrows, he finished up with a whopping 67 points and 35 goals. You can find so many amazing goals of the Sedins and Burrows just passing things off, and Burrows was the smart player on the ice, basically every time he wasn't touching the puck. He would always find himself into a good position, keep his stick down on the ice, and he said it himself. If you keep your stick down on the ice, find yourself some open space, the Sedins will find you. And he discovered that quite a bit. Daniel Sedin was also at a good 85 points in 63 games, mind you, in the 2009-2010 season. Then, in 2011, things were spicier for the Sedins, 104 points for Daniel, 94 points for Henrik Sedin, and Burrows, although still a dominant player, grabbed himself just 48 points and 25 goals. So, by no means a useless player, but he was still providing such a good presence for the Sedins out there on the ice. And going forward, the Vancouver Canucks were able to make the Stanley Cup Finals that year. Burrows, staying on the Sedins line, grabbed himself another 25-goal season, 50-point season, and the Sedins did experience a little bit of a decline, but they were still as good as ever. The Sedins and Burrows remained a line until the 2013-14 season, I want to say, and this was the year where we drafted Jake Virtanen. This was the Tortorella year. This was the year where things kind of got wonky, because Tortorella split up Burrows and the Sedins. Okay, you can do that, but then he also split up the Sedins and put them on different lines, and things were like really whack, which is why we ended up finishing in a position to draft 6th overall in the draft. But this amount of time, 2008-2009 up until 2012-13, this was a really good 5 years for the Vancouver Canucks. And it was led by this dominant line of Sedin-Sedin-Burrows. If we go over to 2008 to 2013, Alex Ovechkin is first in total points with 425, Henrik Sedin is second with 414 points, Daniel Sedin is fifth with 378 points, and going down to 59th, Alex Burrows is up there with 242 points, beating out guys like Dan Boyle, Olli Jokinen, Jakub Voracek, and a few others. Alexandre Burrows was definitely an impact player at this time frame. If you go to goals, Alex Burrows was up there. He was 23rd in total goals with 130 from 2008 to 2013. Daniel Sedin, by the way, was 13th with 143. And if you go to assists in this time frame, no surprise, Henrik Sedin is first by a long shot, 319 assists. St. Louis is second with 275. Then if you want to make things even more specific, 2009 up until 2011, Henrik Sedin, the only player with 200 total points. Alexandre Burrows was one of the guys who was able to make this happen. He was tied for 48th with 115 points. And I'm talking about them here in the best lines of hockey, because it was just incredible to see where the Canucks would finish up in the scoring race. Henrik Sedin, first in points in 2010, Henrik Sedin, fourth in points in 2011, Daniel Sedin, first in points in 2011. They were just so good. And they were able to turn an undrafted Alex Burrows, who wasn't really known to be a high prolific point scorer, into a guy who got 35, 25-goal seasons. Burrows had 60 points in one season, thanks to the Sedins. They each all thrived off of each other equally, and things were amazing to watch. This is why I have them here on my list of great hockey lines, or whatever the name of this series is. And I plan to make a few more of these. I have a few other line combinations in mind that I actually want to talk about because they were so good. Don't get me wrong, they're not all NHL lines, but I'll be looking forward to talking about more stacked hockey lines as the time passes. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Twitter plus, and down below, gaming, and bye.